no, I can't handle it anymore. 1 week ago, I left my lovely Budapest to fly to Russia. I haven't been home for a few years, and here I would like to share with you some reversal, cultural shock I experienced here and still experiencing every single day. First thing that shocked me a lot, it's the quality of our roads. I live in Novosibirsk. It's the third largest city in Russia. So it's supposed to be really nice, maintained roads here. But no, not at all. You know what people say, it's an ongoing joke about Russians' road. But when you experience all this quality and terrible roads by yourself, you don't want to make jokes, you want to cry. So when you live in this condition, you kind of get used to it and you don't pay attention on that. You are shaking all the time if you're on a bus or if you're on your own car. It doesn't matter. But when you lived somewhere else and then you come back here and you see all this difference in roads. In fact, when I lived in Budapest, I didn't even pay attention on road. It's just mandatory to drive a nice road. I'm also talking about sidewalks, about parks, and it's widespread. This problem with the roads is everywhere. I visited one place here in Novosibirsk in the city center, and I almost broke my legs because I was on the heels. Oh my God. Russia is just massive. And many people, they just left villages and went to bigger cities because there are more opportunities, it's obvious. And as a result, cities become bigger and bigger and bigger. And in order to reach from point A to point B, it may take you for hours. And in some cities, especially Novosibirsk, which is again third city, largest city in Russia, is such a poor public system. There is a subway and it covers only like a city center, and if you want to get somewhere in the forest district, you better stay in your district, really, because in order to get to the city center, you either have to stay in a traffic jam for hours in dusty and really noisy streets, or you just need to go on the bus and be in much more uncomfortable situation, and still you have to stay for hours, and it's just like a waste of time. So since I'm visiting Russia temporarily, I don't have a car here, and I just rely on the public transport here. But when I need to get somewhere, it's like so challenging, especially considering the fact I have two small children and we always take a stroller with us because the baby boy, he's get tired pretty soon and I just can't carry him on my hands. So to get on bus with the two small children, with the one stroller, in a bus which has stairs, it's like, what? I can't do so. I can't carry all of this. Of course, people around would help and it's very nice of them, but it's so uncomfortable. And when you are riding on this bus, you're shaking and it's like a roller coaster, the whole ride. You need to make sure that your children sit and safe. You need to hold the stroller. And it's so tiresome and takes all my energy away. Okay, here you might think that, what's the problem? If you don't like a public transport, go and take a taxi. It's crazy. You know, in Russia, it's mandatory to have baby seats on the back seats. My children are 6 and 3 years old, so I need 2 baby seats in the car. But most of the time, taxi drivers, they don't have 2 baby seats. And when I try to call a taxi using an app, I always leave a comment that I have 2 babies. Do you have 2 baby seats? And they like canceled the ride. And I can stay for 30 minutes and wait that someone will so kind to me and take me and my children on a ride. It's also that unpleasant because it's summertime, it's really hot here, and when you are with your children, they are tired and you're waiting for a taxi for 30 minutes. Gosh, it's so damn hard. So I feel like there are so many things are not for people. so many things that don't make your life comfortable. What's the sense of living in a big cities if you cannot get from one point to another point by using some other infrastructures, no bridges, no subways, no fine maintained roads? What's the sense to live in a big city? I really don't get. If you've been only in Moscow or in Saint Petersburg, don't even compare this situation, because those cities, they are like different countries. Even among Russian people, we have these talks that Moscow and Saint Petersburg, it's like, it's like another planet. And it's so true, because even in Moscow, it's super well developed, and there are so much infrastructures for people and parks and all these public systems. Not in other cities, unfortunately. It a little bit get better, but still after Budapest, when I came back here, I got really shocked. When I found myself in Europe, I just realized how your surroundings are important, are crucial. When I traveled some different countries and villages, I was so impressed how beautiful it can be, how clean, how colorful and peaceful. And you like walking around those villages and cities in Europe, in Austria, for instance, Hallstatt, it's like, wow, it's still, my mind is there. And you can't believe that it's real. You always think and try to find something that is fake, but it's not. And it's just because people are used to live like this and they care about their surroundings. You will not see someone who is threw some rubbish away, who put the car on the grass, who like doesn't care about the environment. People are so careful with this, and everyone is like care about nature, care about surroundings, care about buildings and all this beauty, and preserve it. When I came back in Russia, in Novosibirsk, I realized how much trash on streets, and there are a lack of places where people can just walk and enjoy the city, the places, the life, without background noises, in a peaceful pace. Here it's always dirty, it's always noisy, cars are everywhere. I still can't find a safe place for me and children to walk. And also, again, this problem that I cannot get anywhere I want, because neither public transport nor taxi, and I like stuck in my district, and I feel so damn sad here. And when I stay in my district and go out here, there's nothing that can catch my eye. There is nothing that can bring me this aesthetic pleasure. And when people live in their surroundings are poor, and there is no sparks in their surroundings and buildings, lack of parks and nature, and it's like all is gray and boring, I wouldn't be able to live like this anymore. So Budapest spoiled me with its beauty and charm, and when I came back here, I like, oh my God, I lived like this, I was surrounded by this. How I survived. If we are talking about districts which are far away from city centers, mostly Soviet structures, building mixed with modern buildings. And it doesn't match well, it just doesn't work. I'm like in the situation that I have no choice and stay here and enjoy this Soviet Union. No, I can't handle it anymore. But it's not only about negative, don't worry, there is also a positive side. Talking about grocery, when we came here and we needed some like goods to eat, we went to the closest grocery to us, and I got so excited because I really missed some goods which we couldn't find in Europe, but I knew that they are in Russia. And the first lot is black breads. I don't know how it's called in English, but I really loved it. And back to Europe, I just couldn't find something similar, something that could resemble the same taste. I just gave up in Budapest and I stopped looking for it. But here, when we came back, I bought my first black bread and I so enjoyed the taste because it's really delicious. Dairy, oh my God, how delicious they are, so saturated and tasty. And also what I like is that the choice, you have a choice. There are lots of companies that made these dairy products, and you can taste different of them and find your favorite one. And like icing on the cake, those goods, they are mostly have really short dates to expire, like 1 week or maximum 2 weeks, that make me feel that it's kind of natural products, and there are no GMO and no other extra ingredients which can make this product stay longer. And it's a really good thing. I know that some people, they just hate this dairy and they don't care about these yogurts and milk and sour milk or kefir, as we call it in Russia, but Russian really like it. We like dairy. We do make lots of things from these dairy products. And by being here, I realized that I missed some taste of it in Budapest. And to my surprise, when we came to Europe, there was a problem for me to find a salty salmon, for instance, like a fresh salty note in this vacuum package. And it was really a problem, and I still can't find a place where I can buy it. But here in Russia, it's pretty easy to find those markets, fish markets, and buy whatever fish you want. It's mostly frozen fish, but sometimes you can find these fresh items. I missed that opportunities in Europe, and it's also local people, Hungarian people. They told me that they mostly don't care about fish. They prefer, the whole nation prefer eat meat. So to find a fish market in Budapest is not that easy. That unfortunate for me, but while I'm here, I eat fish like every single day. Talking about people, I'm Russian myself, and my whole family are also Russian people. No others' culture are mixed. And I've noticed that it's really true when people say that Russian don't smile enough and they are like strangers, and no one will be happy to start a conversation with the strangers, just a chat. It's true, and we are used to live like this. I wouldn't say that in Hungary you can come and just speak with everyone and everyone will smile to you, as I hear about the USA all the time. But still there are lots of kind of friendly faces on the streets. At least people can smile to you. But if you start smiling in Russia to some strangers, they may think that you want to get something from them, or you are kind of strange person, and they will just walk you around somehow. And it's a little bit sad, because we all need people. We need each other. We need connections with each other, and so many people feel lonely nowadays, and unfortunately it's not that easy just to start a conversation with someone in Russia. Let me tell you one story. When I came here, just on the second day, I needed to go to the city center. I left my children with the grandma and went to the city center. So I just walked there to enjoy the city, to see how city changed and what the differences. I was just curious to look at people. And there was a guy who came to me and he just asked for money, around 20 or 25 years old, and like with legs and hands, and he asked me to help him to buy a ticket. And I just started having a conversation with him without any mocking. I didn't mock him. I just asked these questions: why are you here? Why don't you have money? You have hands and legs. Why don't you go and work? And he just said me. And for me, it was a little bit offensive, because I'm not obliged to give him money, and I didn't deserve to hear this phrase. But when I heard, I realized I'm home. This is also pretty sad. When I've noticed here that when I speak with Russian people and they figure out that I don't live in Russia anymore, they get defensive at once, and they start talking about the high standard of living in Russia and how cool is that to live here, and that they have all this medical insurance and safety here, and all the stuff. But I didn't mean to offend them. I didn't mean that life in Europe is like way higher and there is no drawbacks there. Of course they are, and lots of them, and lots of things I don't like about Europe. But people are so aggressive here, really. And even though you don't want to hurt them, they start to push you back and give you all these arguments why Russia is better, and why life here is much better, and you're like back off. People are so narrow-minded, they are not ready to hear other things about other places. They are used to live in their small communities, and once you go somewhere, your vision explodes. And when I came to Europe first time, it happened only 1 year ago, my mind was blown away how I've changed a lot. My perspective, my mindset changed a lot. And if person stays in one place and don't go anywhere and communicate with the same people for years and years, nothing will change in the life of this person. And if someone can bring up something new information, fresh ideas, and just to share how life experience is in other countries, why not to just hear that and maybe to make some conclusions and to maybe try to improve some areas in life here in Russia, but not to be like super aggressive and no, I don't want to hear that, it's all shit and you don't deserve to be here, and like go away. It doesn't feel right as well. And here we go, the icing on the cake, the moment I was waiting for years, 3 years precisely. Папа, ты настоящий спортсмен. Привет. Сыночек, отойди. There are many things I love about Europe, but there is one thing I will never find there. That's my family. Девочка! Я домой. Guys, I hope I didn't offend anyone in this video. All what I've made, it was based on my personal experience, and I just wanted to share this with you, to show the differences, to show how it feels to be out of Russia, to come back to Russia, and what the cultural shock I faced with here. And I hope you enjoyed and stayed satisfied with all this information. Thanks for watching this video and see you in next videos. Be safe and sound. See ya.